Gentleman from Texas, Mr. Farenthold, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Cooper, thank you for being here and having the courage to testify before us and getting to the truth. I want to just take a big step back. I'm pretty geeky, and I'm going to ask some geek questions you may or may not be able to answer. But the server the Clintons had, this wasn't like just a personal computer that everybody has that they pick up their email. I've had people go, oh, I've got a server in my house. That's how I get email. They think their personal computer is a server. This is a computer running business-class software that delivered and forwarded and stored email for dozens of people. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And are you familiar with many people who have this type of equipment in their home? It's typically something that's in an office. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you know anybody who has a server at their home besides maybe me?
I'm certainly aware of some people who have servers.
But it's pretty rare. Now, are you familiar with what email software was running on the server?
I do not recall specifically what the software was running on either.
All right, and you told the chairman that what it was set up to do is an email came and it forwarded it to Mrs. Clinton's BlackBerry. And did it delete it from that server, or did it keep it on that server?
Yeah, my recollection, and just to be clear, there are two servers that we're speaking about. There was an Apple server in use from approximately June 2008 until March 2009. That server, which was originally, again, set up for President Clinton's office staff, had some software on it. I'm sorry, I don't recall the name of what the software packages on there that administered that were. One was a mail client, and one was a tool that was supposed to interface with BlackBerry, but it wasn't BlackBerry's own product.
So was it secure, or did it just like forward using SMTP to like the Verizon BlackBerry gateway?
I can't speak to the security of what that software was, but I believe in the case of Secretary Clinton, because she wasn't going to be accessing that email in any other fashion, and the focus was transitioning her email address over so people would start to use her new email address. We were simply receiving messages in, not retaining them on that server and having them automatically forward to her agent.
Right, and on the later server, did it do the same thing?
On the later server, it functioned more like what you were probably used to in your day-to-day activity, where there was a mailbox on that server that could be accessed.
And was it opened up to where you could get your email through that server through POP3 or IMAP or a web client?
While I don't specifically recall, I believe, depending on the user, we would customize, Brian would help to customize what ports were open based on how that user was accessing.
And did you require that users picking up their mail remotely use a secure client, or they just come in clear text over the standard SMTP ports or POP3 ports?
I don't recall what the protocols were.
All right, so you don't know if there was a requirement to log in with a SSL. So it could potentially have been in clear text. All right, did you turn over the logs and notifications that you received to the FBI? The email of the brute force attacks?
I did not turn those over to the FBI. There was an instance where we shared some logs with the United States Secret Service when we were first experiencing failed login attempts.
Right now, and so you got a notice when there was a failed login attempt. But if somebody doing this brute force attack where they just enter a username and you throw random passwords at it, if they'd gotten it right, you wouldn't have been notified, would you? You'd have thought maybe it was you would have probably thought it was Mrs. Clinton or some legitimate user actually getting in.
I don't want to suppose, but
I mean, you only get notices of failed login attempts. You weren't notified every time somebody actually logged in, though there may actually have been a log kept.
Correct.
So somebody could have gotten in and you just wouldn't have known it. And I'm sorry, I don't remember if I asked this or not. I'm going to ask you, was there a firewall between the internet and this server, a piece of hardware between the server and the internet?
I believe there was a firewall associated with the Pagliano server, yes.
All right, was there one with the Apple server?
I don't recall.
All right, and then we talked a little bit about the Mrs. Clinton going through a variety of BlackBerries. Were they all the same version of BlackBerries, or did she migrate up between, when the new BlackBerry came out, did she want the latest and greatest BlackBerry?
Again, it's a little bit difficult, I think, for me at least, to go in a time warp and know the sequences, but BlackBerry was releasing models quite frequently then with very different user interfaces, from trackballs to track wheels to track pads.
I know, I went through that nightmare myself.
And I think over time, she would move to a newer device, usually when her older device may have been you know, a little bit older, a little bit failing.
And do you know if the security patches were regularly put on all of these servers?
I feel fairly confident that the security patches were updated by Mr. Pagliano.
I tell you, having kept a server in my house for a while, I gave it up and now moved over to an online hosting because it's next to impossible to keep up with the pace of the security fixes that are coming out. I see I'm out of time. It happens when I geek out. I yield back.
Thank you. We now recognize the gentlewoman from Wyoming,